In today's video, we're going to begin and discuss our journey going through the Thieves Guild faction in the Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. The Thieves Guild is one of the 5 joinable factions available in the base game. Unlike the Arena, the Mages Guild, and the Fighters Guild, and more akin to the Dark Brotherhood, joining the Thieves Guild is a little more secretive and lesser known. However, in this case, unlike the Dark Brotherhood, there are multiple ways to gain an audience with its members. In fact, there are 3 different ways we can learn about the meeting spot for the Thieves Guild. The first one is rather simple, and we just have to go to jail. This can be done by committing any crime and getting caught by the guards.
It's all over, lawbreaker. Your spree is at an end. I'll take any stolen goods you have. The next move is yours. Pay your fine, or I'll haul you away.
We agree to getting hauled away and go to jail.
Hope you rot, criminal scum.
We're brought to the nearest jail depending on whichever county we're in, and then all we have to do is serve our time by sleeping in the bedroll. Then we'll be brought back into the city, a skill will decrease, and life goes on. However, after a short period of time, or in our case, forcing a wait, we're approached by a stranger.
Take this. It's from a friend.
It's a very ominous and discreet interaction, and trying to speak with the messenger sounds like this.
I don't have time to talk.
We ask about the mysterious note.
Hey, I don't read them, I just deliver them.
And that's about as good as it gets. There are no more relevant dialogue options. So all that's left to do is to actually read this mysterious note. It says, "I can offer you greater rewards and less time in prison. If you are interested, come to the Garden of Derloth in the Imperial City's waterfront district at midnight. Present this note and all shall be made clear. The Grey Fox." So this leads us into the second method for finding out about the Thieves Guild. Posted around town, we'll see various wanted posters. Getting a closer look at them, we see that it says wanted, obviously, and then there's also a man wearing a grey cowl with Daedric inscriptions. Underneath it, it says the Grey Fox. Wanted for theft, embezzlement, forgery, pickpocketing, counterfeiting, burglary, conspiracy to commit theft, grand larceny, tax evasion, slander, fraud, perfidy, and impertinence. It also says, description, wears a grey cloak that conceals his appearance, presumed male and Colovian, height between 5 and 6 feet, normal weight, hair, and eye color are unknown. Any citizen with information should contact the Imperial Watch. Issued by Watch Captain Hieronymus Lex. Either by reading that wanted poster or by receiving the Black Horse Courier article, a new conversation topic for the Grey Fox should pop up.
Do I know you?
We ask about Grey Fox.
He's just a name on a wanted poster. I don't trust you enough to say more than that.
Other citizens around town have differing opinions.
He's just a thief. He's supposed to be the head of the Thieves Guild. Oh, what a joke. Can you imagine a bunch of thieves trying to form a guild? The nobility hate him, but the peasants and the beggars love him, especially in the waterfront.
However, in this instance, if we go to any of the beggars, they'll be a little more forthcoming.
Please be generous, kind sir. Are you looking for him?
We say we want to work with the Grey Fox.
I think I trust you enough to tell you this secret. To learn more about the Grey Fox, go to the Garden of Derloth at midnight. Look in the waterfront district of the Imperial City. I can say no more.
The third and final way to hear about the Thieves Guild meeting is to travel to the city of Breville. Whilst here, we might come across an Argonian named City Swimmer. Speaking with her sounds like this.
Does anyone see City Swimmer? Is he gliding beneath the silver water? Is he creeping round a corner, hugging a wall, silent as a shadow in the dark? No, I am here. I stand proud before you, City Swimmer, trainer of the prospective sneaker, the sly sliding unseen.
Here, we must ask about the city of Breville.
Ha! Members of the Thieves Guild in our fair town? What makes you think that? Never! Absurd! Such fine law-abiding citizens are we all.
Here, we respond with, gosh, Thieves Guild, what's that?
Then you want to know about the Grey Fox.
We ask City Swimmer about the Grey Fox.
Want to learn more? Visit the waterfront district of the Imperial City. Find the Garden of Deriloth at midnight. Then ask your questions.
Those are the three main methods we can use when it comes to finding the Thieves Guild. Interestingly enough, by simply overhearing the topic of the Grey Fox or by reading the wanted poster, that would still be enough to convince the Thieves Guild to allow us to join. That would be under the circumstance that we happened across the Garden of Deriloth at midnight and witnessed all of their members coming together. Now that we're at the Garden of Deriloth, all that remains is to wait until midnight. We force a wait until 12 AM and slowly witness more people enter into the garden. There's a wood elf named Mithridel and an Argonian named Emuse. Soon, a fourth member approaches, and it happens to be Armand Christophe, someone we spoke to earlier in the market district who completely disregarded the Grey Fox. We decide to speak with him about joining the Thieves Guild.
I really don't have time for the likes of you.
We ask him about the mysterious note.
Ah, yes. Another scoundrel who served time in an imperial jail. The Grey Fox is offering you a chance to join the Thieves Guild.
We ask him again about the Grey Fox.
You say a beggar told you to seek me out? Good enough for me, then. The beggars are the eyes and ears of the Grey Fox. He is the King of Thieves in Cyrodiil. You could think of him as our guildmaster, although he would deny that title.
Now, we ask about joining the Thieves Guild.
Everyone is here. Let's begin. Each of you is seeking membership in the Thieves Guild. The Thieves Guild is not a myth. We are followers of the Grey Fox, and I am his doyen. Merely by finding me, you have passed the first test. It's unusual for us to have 3 potential recruits at the same time. Rather than the normal test of skill, I'm going to make this a contest.
That's not fair.
Mithridel, you know the rules. However, for Emuse and the newcomer, let me state them clearly. Whoever brings me the diary of Amantius Electus without killing him will be invited into the guild.
Ha! I'll have it before sunrise.
It's somewhere in the Imperial City. The beggars will help you locate it for a price. I can sell you lockpicks if you need them. One more thing. You cannot kill each other during this trial. We may be thieves, but we're not murderers.
It's at this point we get a quest update. The first one to retrieve a diary gets added into the Thieves Guild. The race is on. Mithridel bolts off from the garden, and Emuse stands around pondering where to go. Meanwhile, our compass is pointing us out to the nearest beggar, Puny Ancus. We wake him up and speak with him.
I can eat for a day with a single coin.
We ask about Amantius.
Oh, anything for you. He lives in the Temple District on the far east side.
We pop open our map and fast travel over to the Temple District. Arriving, Mithridel is already in front of us. She's pretty quick and knows exactly where to go. Eventually, we both end up outside of Electus's house. We pick the lock to get in and gain entrance inside. Using 0 sneaking ability, we run over to Amantius's desk and take his diary. We get a quest update that we beat both Mithridel and Emuse, and now it's time to return back to Deriloth Garden. Mithridel is actually right outside, so we're able to speak with her.
Thief! You stole that diary from me. Now I have to wait to get into the guild.
That's really all about the dialogue we get from her, and now we can fast travel back to the waterfront. On our way back, we actually ran into Emuse, so we spoke with him as well.
Step aside. I'm going to win the right to join the guild. You can't beat me.
He appears to be a little bit behind, but we disregard him. We run over to Armand Christophe and present him with the diary.
Yes, you might do.
We ask him about the Thieves Guild test.
Congratulations! You have returned with the diary. You have earned the right to join the Thieves Guild. You now owe your loyalty to our guildmaster, the Grey Fox. He has 3 rules you must follow.
Before we progress any further, let's discuss what happens if Mithridel or Emuse beat us to the diary. For starters, really our only competitor is Mithridel. Emuse has no idea where to go, so like I said before, we can disregard him from this competition. Mithridel will already know where Amantius's house is, and she'll slowly take her time sneaking over to his desk. This would give us the golden opportunity just to run over and take the diary.
Ha! You're too late.
But, say for this instance, she beat us to the desk and took the item. Then right after, she flees into the basement. This is where we get another quest update saying that even though we didn't retrieve the diary at first, we still have a chance to pickpocket it off of her. Down here, it would seem she fled into the temple sewers. At this point, it would seem as though we lost her. Not to mention there are a lot of goblins down here, and given our level, they're actually very powerful. If you're not looking for a fight or dungeon exploration, I recommend just leaving through Amantius' front door. Interestingly, Electus' diary, if we choose to read it, details his experiments of trying to create a vampire plant hybrid. The plants are called drinkers, and he feeds them animal blood at first, but switches over to human blood as they react better to it. He ends his entries by saying he was forced to destroy the plants as they had become too dangerous, hence the bloody scene and plants we see in the basement. Anyways, back to the chase. At this point, all hope is pretty much lost, and it looks like our chances of joining the Thieves Guild are nil. But there is one last chance to retrieve the diary. It turns out, Methridel actually lives in the waterfront district, and she was naive enough to hide the diary in her house. By giving her ample time to return home and safely store the diary away, we can break in and lockpick her chest that's beside the door. Here, we'll find Amantius Electus' diary. We can take it and bring it to Armand Christophe for our entry into the Thieves Guild. Now, let's go a step further. Let's say Methridel took the diary and we didn't know we could take it from her house. Waiting for midnight to come, we can stand guard by the Garden of Deriloth. Here, we'll see Methridel approach, and then this would in theory be our last chance to pickpocket the diary. But pickpocketing isn't always easy, and maybe we wouldn't have known to do that. We watch her approach Armand and hand over the diary. It's here we get a quest update that says we should ask him if there's anything more we can do to enter into the Thieves Guild.
I have the diary.
Methridel, you have earned the right to join the Thieves Guild.
We speak with Christophe.
Are you confused?
We ask about the Thieves Guild test.
Methridel has delivered the diary to me. She has earned her place in the guild. You did not do so well. Since we rarely get 3 potential recruits at the same time, I'll give you one more shot. Amuse is a bungler and won't get this offer. The first one to bring back Rossin's sword will become a member. But this is the last chance. The loser gets nothing. Do you accept?
We say we'll join the competition.
Good. Remember, you may not kill anyone while doing this. If you need any lockpicks, I can sell you some.
We're given one last chance to prove ourselves to the Thieves Guild. We have to steal Rossin's sword, so we wake up puny Ancus and ask some questions.
I'm saving up enough for some medicine.
We ask about Rossin.
I've heard of her. What's it worth to you?
We give him 5 coins.
I will sing of your charity. She runs the Fighting Chance Armory on the far east side of the Market District.
We open our map and fast travel over to the Market District. Here, we make our way over to a Fighting Chance, the store that Rossin owns. We pick the lock and enter inside. We chose to commit the burglary during the cover of night. We make our way upstairs and enter into her private quarters. This is where things get interesting. Rossin actually has a guard dog. Upon seeing us, the dog gets aggressive and begins attacking. All of the commotion wakes up Rossin, and she runs over to see what's going on. It's here that we just decide to run over to the chest, unlock it, and steal Rossin's antique sword. Upon doing so, we'll receive a quest update that we should return back to Armand Christophe. It's at this point we leave her shop and attempt to fast travel back to the waterfront, but we learn that the guards are pursuing us, so we have to run there by foot. Now, this was definitely not the most graceful way of doing things. It certainly works, but there are better alternatives. Like for example, there are easier ways to sneak around her guard dog, or we could have even used some illusion skills. Killing the dog is also an option, and it wouldn't lead to any forfeit or a blood price. Finally, it's also possible that we could have used a calm or command creature spell to relax the dog. During the day, Rossin runs the shop and will keep a sharp eye on us if we try to go upstairs. However, if we successfully evade her eyesight, we can go up there no problem, deal with the dog, and take the sword. Either way, with the cutlass in our possession, we can return back to Armand Christophe and present it to him.
Are you confused?
We ask him about the Thieves Guild test.
It took 2 tries, but you finally made it. You have earned the right to join the Thieves Guild. You now owe your loyalty to our guildmaster, the Grey Fox. He has 3 rules you must follow.
At this point, we're caught up to where we would have been if we had successfully retrieved the diary first. So now we can ask Armand about the 3 rules.
First, never steal from another member of the guild. Second, never kill anyone on the job. This is not the Dark Brotherhood. Animals and monsters can be slain if necessary. Third, don't steal from the poor. The peasants and beggars are under the personal protection of the Grey Fox, particularly here on the waterfront.
We have a whole bunch of questions we can ask him. We start off with Thieves Guild special jobs.
You need more experience before I can use you on a commission job. Ongar tells me that you haven't turned in much loot yet. When you've contributed enough to the guild coffers by selling stolen items to Ongar, I might have something for you. Come back then.
We ask him about regular Thieves Guild jobs.
Jobs? We're thieves, not masons or scribes. Look, you're on your own as a thief. Go find a likely-looking house. Case the joint to see when the owner is gone. When he leaves, you break in and steal some stuff. You don't need special permission or orders to do that. However, you will find that you can only sell stolen property to one of our guild fences. Most other merchants won't take hot merchandise.
We ask him if we work alone.
Well, sometimes the guild gets a special commission. You know, guaranteed pay to acquire certain items for special clients. You should check in with your doyen every once in a while to see if there are any commission jobs available.
We ask him about sources of information.
The best source of information are the beggars. Their eyes and ears seem to be everywhere. However, be prepared to spend a little coin. They won't tell you anything for free. At least not anything true.
We ask about the ability to pay off our fines and bounties.
You can pay your fines to the guards, serve your time, or pay me half, and I'll fix them all.
We ask about Hieronymus Lex.
He's a captain of the Imperial Watch. He is pursuing a personal vendetta against the Thieves Guild and the Grey Fox. 2 years ago, I made a fool out of him when he tried to arrest me. Lex has never forgotten it.
We ask again about the Grey Fox.
He's been around forever. It must be 300 years or more since he took charge. I'm not sure he's even human.
We go into specifics about the Thieves Guild, asking what a doyen is.
The doyen are the hands and eyes of the guildmaster. You take your orders from them, you get your favors from them. I am one doyen, and Skriva is the other.
We ask what happens if we kill someone.
Breaking any of the 3 rules means expulsion from the Thieves Guild. If you commit murder, you must pay the blood price to rejoin the guild. Blood price is for each person slain. You can pay any of the guild doyen.
We ask what happens if we steal from a thief.
You are removed from the guild. You must pay a fine to one of the guild doyen to get back in.
We ask where we can find a fence.
The best fences are only available to the higher-rank Thieves Guild members. Here's a list of who you can use. Ongar lives in Bruma. He doesn't have much money, but he's the only place you can sell hot property if you are new to the Thieves Guild.
And with that, we exit our conversation from Armand Christoph. Interestingly, if you have the Knights of the Nine DLC installed, after stealing either the diary or the cutlass and becoming the Divine Crusader, we get a notification saying we're going down a path of being unfit to wear the relics. And with that, we're officially members of the Thieves Guild, thus ending the quest, May the Best Thief Win. As mentioned by Armand Christoph, we need to fence about 50 or so gold worth of stolen items in order to receive our first special job. We look around the waterfront for a place to break into, and we go with the Imperial Trading Company office. We mostly come across cheaper items. We find food, lockpicks, repair hammers, clothes, cloths, just overall smaller score that won't really add up to much in the end. This is when we get the idea to go over to the market district. We pay a visit to Red Diamond Jewelry and break in. Here we come across way more valuable items. This will surely be enough to get us over that 50 gold mark and even potentially that 200 gold mark. After breaking into all sorts of display cases and counters, we leave Red Diamond Jewelry and fast travel over to the city of Bruma. Here, we wander over to Ongar's house and speak with our fence.
I see you are with the Grey Fox. Do you need a fence?
we begin selling off as many of our stolen goods as we can. I will say early game, if you're looking for a quick buck, by simply joining the Thieves Guild to get access to the fences is such a great way to get some early gold. It opens up a whole new avenue for selling our goods, and it actually gives purpose to stealing a lot of unimportant or miscellaneous items. After selling off all of our stolen goods, we receive a quest update that we've reached our goal of a value of 50 gold for our fenced items. We can now fast travel back to the Imperial City waterfront, wait until midnight, and speak with Armand Kristoff for our special Thieves Guild job.
I'm glad you stopped by. I have a situation that you might be able to help with.
We ask him about the situation.
The Grey Fox has asked me to take care of a problem, and I'm putting you on it. Hieronymus Lex actually collected taxes from everyone living here on the waterfront. Your job is to recover those taxes. Are you up for it?
We remark that this seems a little noble for thieves.
The people of the waterfront are very poor. Traditionally, the city has not collected taxes from them, even though by law they could. The money the city would collect would barely cover the cost of collecting. The Grey Fox has always guaranteed protection to the poor of the waterfront. He doesn't want to let this injustice stand. It's a matter of principle.
We ask who Hieronymus Lex is.
He is a fool of a captain in the Imperial Watch. He's a real law and order type. He has a grudge against the Thieves Guild and the Grey Fox in particular. Lex has made it his personal mission to capture him. The Grey Fox has led our guild for over 300 years now. He has always guaranteed protection to the poor of the waterfront.
We ask why the Grey Fox cares.
The Grey Fox has led our guild for over 300 years now. He has always guaranteed protection to the poor of the waterfront.
We let him know that we agreed to do the job.
Good. Find out where he's keeping the taxes and bring them to me. I'll also need the tax records of what each citizen paid so we can return it.
Exiting the conversation, we take a look at our map and see that we need to go to the Temple District of the Imperial City. From here, we run into the eastern corner and enter into the South Watchtower. So we're actually allowed to be on the ground floor. This is open to the public. Where it gets tricky is we take the ladder up into the guard barracks. There are guards sleeping, there are guards getting ready for patrol, and upon seeing us, they confront us and tell us that it's time to leave. So there are multiple ways of getting through this quest. The first way consists of just bull rushing up the ladders. There are 2 sets of barracks that we need to get through. Fortunately for us, the second set had no guards posted. And from this area, we can pick the lock and go up to the watch captain's quarters. Again, we use speed over sneak and break into Hieronymus Lex's desk. From here, we take the tax forms as well as the gold. And as far as the guards know, we didn't steal anything, and we didn't overstay our welcome, so we're able to leave scot-free. This is one method which absolutely works, and we walk away with the quest items. However, if we want to do this the more strategic way and get some experience under our belt, we can wait until any time between 9 and 11 AM or PM, and we can re-enter into the watchtower and make our way back up to the barracks. The guards will have went on their patrols, and all that remains are sleeping watchmen. The only thing is now we have to be careful not to wake any of them up with our loud footsteps, so we ensure that we're sneaking around and have our slow movement on. As it is between 9 and 11 AM, Hieronymus Lex is no longer in his private quarters, meaning it's really easy to break into his desk and steal the items. From here, we can leave the way we came in, being just as careful not to wake anybody up. Once we've left the watchtower, we can take a peek at those tax forms and see just how much gold was stolen, and from whom. The waterfront tax records list a lot of different names. We see those familiar to us, some being beggars, others being members of the guild themselves. Some of them are names we don't recognize as well. All of them have just how many coins were taken from them beside their name, so it'll make giving back that much easier. Interestingly, there are 2 members of the guild who didn't have to pay anything. One is Hillod Empty-Handed, and it says he thrashed, which we're not quite sure what that means. And the other is Mavrina Arano, the dark elf who gave us the message about the Thieves Guild to begin with. She was exempted, and again, we're not entirely sure why. Either way, with quest items in hand, we fast travel back to the Imperial City waterfront. From here, we go to the Garden of Deriloth, wait until midnight, and speak with Armand Kristoff.
Have you recovered those taxes?
We hand them over.
The Grey Fox will be very pleased. We will make sure this gets back to the people. Can you believe that fool even bothered to collect this paltry sum? You can keep it. I merely wanted the Watch to know they went too far. I think it's time to promote you to Footpad. Congratulations on your new guild rank.
We exit the conversation and receive a notification that we've gone too far and can no longer wear the Crusaders' relics for the Knights of the Nine, showcasing that our infamy has grown too much. On the bright side, the total amount that we fenced to Ongar has surpassed the 100 gold mark, meaning we're ready for our next special job. Before we return back to Armand Kristoff for our next job, we notice something strange. Mivrina Arano, a fellow Thieves Guild member, appears to be hiding just outside of Deriloth Garden. We speak with her.
What do you want?
She actually has no unique dialogue options, but when we ask about the Grey Fox, she gives us a peculiar answer.
He's kind of like a guildmaster for the Thieves Guild. All I know is that the Doyen and other senior guild members do his bidding like trained dogs.
Definitely a strange thing to call your superiors, but we ignore it and go speak with Armand Kristoff.
Good to see you again.
We ask about any more special jobs.
The guild has received a request to obtain a unique statuette. It is a bust of Lethassa Indaris, the recently slain Countess of Cheydinhal. You will be paid a modest sum. Do you want this job?
We say we'll take it.
Excellent. Bring it back to me once you have it. Shadow hide you.
Before we venture off to Cheydinhal, we speak one more time with Mivrina Arano.
What do you want?
We question her about the bust of Lethassa Indaris.
Bust? What bust? I didn't overhear any conversation about a bust. I'm leaving now.
Again, another really strange conversation, but we have business to take care of. We fast travel over to Cheydinhal. Here, our compass points us to one of two beggars. We can either speak to luckless Lucina or Brucius the Orphan. Lucky for us, both were side by side walking with one another, so we chose to speak with Lucina.
I'm saving up enough for some medicine.
We ask about the bust of Lethassa Indaris.
Sure, I've heard about it. What's it worth to you?
We toss over 15 septims.
Count Indaris recently commissioned a bust of Lethassa. They say the elves carved it. He put it near her tomb in the chapel undercroft. He also posted a guard so that her tomb wouldn't be disturbed. Used to be anyone could visit her, but now it's off limits to the public. There's a rumour going around that the undercroft may be haunted.
Our quest updates and points us in the direction of the chapel. We head on over and enter into the halls of Arche. From here, we descend down the steps and pick the lock leading to the undercroft. This is where the sneaking begins. We see an Altmer guard patrolling the crypts. Her pathway isn't too complicated though, and it's fairly easy to stay out of her way. She stayed on the other side of the undercroft for quite a bit, and that gave us ample time to reach the bust of Lethassa Indaris. Picking it up, we received a quest update that we can return back to Armand Kristoff. From here, all we have to do is make our way back into the central room and ascend back into the main floor of the chapel. Now, where this quest becomes incredibly easy is if you have the Knights of the Nine DLC installed. By speaking with the Prophet and becoming a pilgrim in the faction, being down here isn't actually considered trespassing. Moreover, the chapel guard doesn't react to our presence.
Have respect for the dead while you are down here.
This means that so long as she doesn't see us take the bust of Lethassa, we're free to move around without sneaking, and are able to steal it so long as she's not looking at us. Another interesting occurrence that happens is that if we decide to loot Lethassa's tomb, the spirit of the dead countess will come back to haunt us. And in this instance, the chapel guard will be alerted and will be caught in the act of stealing the bust. It's probably better just to leave the loot alone, as fighting off the Countess's spirit isn't worth it. If you're finding it tricky taking the bust, there are a few techniques we can use to help us. The first one is by actually triggering Lethassa's spirit. Using line of sight, the spirit will attack the chapel guard and in turn kill her. From here, we would take the bust and simply run away. Another technique is allowing the chapel guard to see us. She'll become aggroed and chase after us. From here, we grab the bust, run back out into the city, and find the nearest guard. the guard will actually be on our side and begin attacking her. The guard will most likely be the victor, and the chapel guard will be taken care of. The final method would be to use some sort of calming spell. While the chapel guard is in a trance and relaxed, we can take the bust and make a quick escape. Either way, once we have the statuette of the Countess, we can return back to the Imperial City waterfront. Whilst here, we see an excess amount of guards running around in a frenzy. Getting in close, the guard can barely ask a question before we get a quest update. It tells us that the Imperial Watch is actually looking for Armand Christophe. We don't know where he is either, yet we need to find him to turn in this bust.
Don't worry. We'll get him. Any sign of Armand Have you seen Armand Christophe? No sign of him. Can you tell me where Armand Christophe is hiding? Have you seen Armand Christophe?
We're suggested to ask around our fellow guildmates. Before we even get the chance to do so, Methridel comes running from around the corner and frantically speaks with us.
Thank goodness I found you. I assume you know that Hieronymus Lex has issued an arrest warrant for Armand Christophe.
We ask where he is.
He is in hiding. Armand is accused of stealing the bust of Lathasa Indaris from Cheydinhal. They say Count Indaris himself filed the charges.
We ask what we do with the bust.
There never was a client that commissioned the guild to steal Lathasa's bust. Armand used you to flush out an informant that infiltrated the guild.
We ask who the informant is.
Mavrina Arano. Now Armand needs your help to neutralize her. You're going to pin the theft of the bust on Mavrina. She lives in the waterfront.
We ask how.
Plant the bust in her cupboard. Make sure she doesn't see you. Then go tell Hieronymus Lex that she is the thief. He probably won't believe you, so you may have to persuade him. Hopefully you will at least go and check it out. Shadow hide you.
It all makes sense now, why Mavrina Arana was hiding in the bushes, eavesdropping on our conversation with Armand Christophe, as well as why she was exempt from the tax collection. She was actually working with the Imperial Watch the whole time. We make our way over to her shack on the waterfront when we spot Hieronymus Lex himself doing some patrols. We decide to speak with him to see what he says.
No sign of him. Can you tell me where Armand Christophe is hiding? What do you want? Can't you see I'm in the middle of an investigation?
We inquire about the bust.
You know where the bust is hidden?
But we have to backtrack.
Then you are wasting my time.
We can now make our way over to Mavrina's house and break inside. From within, Mavrina is actually sleeping, which makes our job a little easier. We sneak over to her cupboard, interact with it, and place the bust inside of it. From here, we can exit her shack and speak with Hieronymus Lex one more time.
What do you want? Can't you see I'm in the middle of an investigation?
This time we tell him Mavrina has the bust.
Your credibility is suspect. You'll have to do better than that to persuade me.
Unfortunately, here we have to grease him up with some septums. Once that's done, we try again.
Are you sure? That can't be right. She doesn't seem to be the type.
We tell him it's in her cupboard.
I don't believe you, but I'll have to check it out anyway. If you are right, there will be hell to pay. You will have to come along.
Together, we go over to Mavrina's house and enter inside.
Hey, what are you doing?
This citizen is accusing you of stealing the bust of Lathasa from Cheydinhal. I even found the bust in your cabinet. What do you have to say?
Fool! You've just exposed me to the Thieves Guild! That citizen is actually the guild member that was hired to do the theft!
Regrettably, I have no further use for you. If what I heard is true, you are the thief. If what you say is true, the Grey Fox knows you are my informant. Either way, it's over. You didn't really think I'd trust the likes of you for very long.
But I've been loyal to you. I've reported everything that Armand has done. You can't just toss me aside like a soiled cloth.
Yes, I can. You are under arrest for the theft of the bust of Lathasa Indaris, Countess of Cheydinhal. Come with me.
It's here we receive a quest update saying that with Mavrina's arrest, it's now safe to meet Armand Kristoff at midnight once again. Hieronymus hauls away the traitor and she's seemingly locked up for good. At this point, we can wait until midnight, and we see that our faithful Doyen has returned. We speak with Armand.
With your help, I uncovered the informant that had compromised the Thieves Guild. I know I used you in this matter with the Lathasa's bust, but I couldn't be certain that you weren't working with Mavrina. Here's the reward you were promised. Even though the bust is gone, you've earned it. I'm also promoting you to the guild rank of Bandit, which will let you use Darji of Leowin as your fence. Good work.
We complete the quest, but receive an update for independent thievery. Apparently, we're now to report to someone by the name of Skriva. We ask Armand Kristoff what this is all about.
Sadly, I don't have anything for you. I only work with the less experienced guild members. You should go see Skriva in Breville from now on. You can find her at the Lonely Suitor Lodge. I wouldn't recommend bothering her at home, unless the door is unlocked.
Before moving on, we decide to see if we're able to pay a visit to Mavrina. Opening our map, we fast travel over to the Imperial City Prison. From here, we enter inside of the Bastion and speak with the jailer.
You're out late, sir. Certainly. I'll unlock the door for you. Of course, I have to stay with you in there.
And wouldn't you know it, heading on down there and peering at the first gate on the right, we see our good old friend Mavrina. Right now, she isn't close enough to engage in conversation, so we use console commands to enter inside of her cell. And most unfortunately, she doesn't have any unique dialogue for her circumstances. But nevertheless, it is a really cool detail that we can visit her in the prison. Now, as a bandit, we've gained access to Darji the Fence in Leowin, and we can now report to Skriva in Breville. We move on to our next adventure.